Hi guys, my name is Lauren, my nature name is True Aspen, and today I wanted to talk to you guys a little about something that is kind of a passion for me, and that is looms and weaving. So I do a lot of different kind of projects involving yarn and string and everything, from doing looms obviously to knitting. I'm alright at crocheting, not really like my thing though, but today I want to talk to you a little bit about looms, about like what they are, how you work with them, and ways that you can do them at home. So as an example, back here I have, this is a loom that I made. You may think it looks a little bit familiar because it's actually a canvas that I bought from the store for like $7. And I cut out the canvas part and it just gave me the nice wooden frame to work with. Then what I did, if you look really close, I marked a centimeter using my measuring tape, and then just nailed in some nails there. You can see on the top there for the strings to hook onto. If you do that on both sides, you can actually make your own loom. But if this seems like a little bit too much, you can also totally buy loom kits, either online or at some of the stores. You can also make them out of, basically, it doesn't have to be a torn apart canvas. It can be a picture frame, any kind of frame you want to make your own from wood scraps, go for it. And it doesn't necessarily even have to be like a rectangle per se. If you want to get fancy, you can do weaving and looms on circles, triangles, all sorts of things. But this is the most basic we've got right here. The strings that are going up and down here, these are called spokes. And these strings that you weave with, me looking for ones. So these strings right here that I've woven through, those are called weavers. So it's the same kind of process whether you're weaving on a loom or if you're weaving a basket, all that. It's the same kind of method. It's pretty basic. You just have all of your spokes here and you go up, down, up, down, up, down, through those strings. So let's see if I can do it on this big one here. I'm just gonna do 2 strings. Here we go for you guys so you can see it. And I just weave my finger through there and you go all the way through and you pull your string through. Once you get to the other side, I have little bits of leftover pieces hanging off on the edges from my color transitions. Eventually I hope to show you guys. I'm going to try to make a mountain scene on this using a variety of different kinds of yarns and everything. But if this seems like a little bit a lot, that's totally okay. It's not where I started with my first one either. You can make your own at home that are like pretty simple just out of a piece of cardboard here. So you may notice that I cut this to be long and thin, a different size than the frame I have back here. And that's because when you're gonna do like looms for the first time and practicing on cardboard, one of the best ones and most fun I think is to make a bracelet out of it. So we have, this is just a piece of cardboard that I cut, and if you look closer to the front, I cut 6 lines on there. It doesn't have to be 6 is just what it fit. Once you cut 6 little indents on this side, you flip it over and do the same to the other side. Once you have that, you can take your strings, the ones that you're going to use to make your spokes, your base strings that you're actually going to be weaving on. So the way I'm going to set this up right now is to set up so it is going to be a bracelet. You can do it a little differently if you want, but this is just if you're looking to make a bracelet. So I have my one end of the string and I like split it through that little slit there, and I'm just going to go down to the corresponding slit at the bottom, and then I'm going to go up on the back, and you're basically just going in a circular motion. Yeah, I got that right. Looks like, so give me a second to wrap this up to show you guys. There we go, and let me cut my excess and tuck that in. So what it looks like when you're done is you have one side that has the spokes really nice and straight, and the other side on the back, they're a little bit slanted, and you have your 2 ends. You don't have to do it so the strings are on the back at all. When you go up to the slits at the top, you can just go around the slit and then back down, kind of like I did on my loom here. You'll notice that there's none strings on the back there. It's just going, whoop, let me flip that around. It's just going up and around the nail and then back down again. But if you're trying to make a bracelet, it's helpful to have those strings on the back, because at the end we can just cut those strings in the center, braid those, and then you have your little ties so that you can tie it on your wrist. So here we have our nice little base that we're gonna actually weave on. Today, right now, I'm just gonna weave with the exact same string that I put on for my spokes there. You can use same colors, different colors. I do recommend that you use a thinner string for the actual spokes to make the frame that you're weaving on. The bigger ones are gonna be a little bit harder to get into those slits on the top and bottom, and they're gonna show a little bit more when you're weaving. If that's what you want, give it a try. I learned how to make all these by just trial and error, trying stuff, seeing if it works. If it doesn't, trying something different. It's a great way to figure things out for yourself, really. So let me cut off. How much string do you need to weave? So that's totally up to you and the kind of pattern you want to make. The more string you have, the longer you can weave with it, but the more you have to pull it through or it might get tangled and all that. So if you're a younger child or someone who is doing a loom for the very first time, you might want to start with a little bit shorter string. It's totally, when you get to the end of that one, you just tie another one on and keep going. It's totally fine to switch that out. But if you have some experience and you're confident in your ability to not tangle your strings or get overwhelmed by the larger amount of string, you're welcome to make a longer one. Ben always asks me how much string, and I always tell him the exact same answer, a good amount. So as I said before, how much string you take is totally up to you. So I cut my string here, and all I'm gonna do on one of the ends here, I'm just gonna take my string, put it under there, and tie a really basic overhand knot. I'm doing this down here. You guys can follow along if you want. Boop, there we go. It doesn't need to be anything fancy, just a basic overhand knot will work great. If your kids don't know how to tie a knot, this is a great time for them to learn how and practice that. Ooh, hidden things. So what you're gonna do is you find your other end. My kids always ask me why I fold the string over into a loop at the top. And that's because if you weave with the very actual end of the string, it can get frayed while you're weaving with it, and it makes it a little bit harder to weave. So basically all I'm gonna do here, I flip this around for you guys. All I'm gonna do here is go, ooh, there you go. Under, over, under, over, under, over. Once I get to the end, I can take this and pull all my extra string through. And then I pull it up and kind of push it up a little bit and make it a nice little line. You do want to be careful that when you're pulling that string through, you don't yank it, because if you do that, it's going to pull your string in, and if you do that consistently, one, it'll make it loose, kind of like it did just now. But also, if you keep doing that, you won't get like a nice rectangle, you'll get an hourglass instead. If that's what you want, go for it. And so there. Once you get to the other side, you do the exact same thing, but opposite. So any of the strings I went over last time, I'm gonna go under them this time. And vice versa. This is where I said making a little bracelet is super easy for first timers because it's only 6 strings or whatever on there and nothing too intimidating like the entire loom. It's a lot of strings on that. See, even I managed to get a knot in my string. Nobody's perfect. That's all right. So I'm gonna kind of push that up and push it together so it fills that gap. You're welcome to leave it spaced a little bit so you see the spokes, or you can push it really tight so you can't see the spokes at all. It's totally up to your preference. So after a while, you keep going on that and it'll build up all the way down the line. Let me show you guys some of the stuff that I have going on mine right now. This is some pretty cool patterns that I've got in. This part's getting a little messed up. But there are a lot of different kinds of ways to do weaving, whether it's up, down, it's down and around, so many different patterns, everything that you can learn. I definitely tell people just to start experimenting with it, oh my gosh. And trial and error. That's really how you learn any kind of craft and arts work. So with that, we are done. I hope you guys get a chance to try out the looms and are staying warm out there. Bye, y'all.